Welcome to the trenches, soldier. Welcome to the world of Turnip28, the Squelchy Wargame. So, for those of you who aren't familiar, what is Turnip28? Well, there's plenty of YouTube videos on the subject. I advise you to watch all of them and not this one. But Turnip28 is a Napoleonic post-apocalypse tabletop miniature game / artistic movement created by a chap called Max Fitzgerald. The rules are completely available for free online if you just Google Turnip28. I'll even have a link in the description down below. But more than anything, it is a way for you to use all the weird models that, if you've been in this hobby as long as I have, and we are talking decades here, you will just accumulate a big box of stuff, just miniatures from all over the shop, whether it's HeroClix or in the case of this ogre from a 15mm website, all matter of strange and weird, fantastical things that ultimately, if you don't know what to do with, just end up gathering dust in a box, don't they? So Turnip28 is a miniature agnostic war game, loosely set in a Napoleonic sort of rank and flank traditional war game setting where you use regiments of soldiers to attack each other to try and claim objectives and kill the enemy leader, the enemy Toff, who is their sort of would-be self-appointed general. And the unit sizes are relatively small. You've got 4, 6 and 12 for chaffs, brutes and fodder. Fodder being the lowest of the low peasant, brain mostly replaced with turnip and root vegetable at this point. And this video is not a straight tutorial. This is not a straight how-to. This is more my experiences of getting into Turnip28. And hands on the table, I'll be honest. I started recording this years ago. This is old footage combined with new footage, a then and now, as I combine a project that ultimately, is finally coming to some kind of resolution. But I want to talk about it, and I want to talk about Turnip28 and why, I've not played the game yet, but why people are so willing to invest into it and to make miniatures and to glue little furry grass tufts on Napoleonic, Prussian line infantry and make these weird onion men, right? Because it's not just the meme, it's not just the joke and the dark British humour. There is something unique here. Now, this is a game that requires you to rank up your miniatures. Well, not strictly speaking. You can multi-base them, you can have them on circle bases or ovals or whatever you want. For me, if I'm looking at line infantry, it's in a box. It's in a square or rectangular formation, 5x2 or 6x4 or whatever the depth is, right? So I'm using 25mm square bases that I got off eBay. I think I got like 50 for £5 back in the day. They're dirt cheap. You can do Turnip28 quite easily through eBay. And there's no 3D printed parts in this video. This is all recycled miniatures and stuff that I've, picked up at conventions or had gifted to me over the years. I just want to sort of go through the creative process, and part of that is not being precious about your failed past projects, because that's what they are. These medieval miniatures here, these footmen from War Games Atlantic, I think it was War Games Atlantic or Fireforge Games, like the Crusader lines. They were part of a Kings of War human army that lived its life many years ago now, and they've just been languishing in a box forever. So what do you do with them? Well, Turnip28 is a way for me to take these languishing medieval peasants and turn them into something, well, maybe not wonderful, but certainly strange and esoteric. So, the joys of gluing root vegetables to little Napoleonic men and sticking black powder muskets in their hands. Why do this? Other than the creative, artistic aspect. So the game itself, from what I've seen online, plays very easily. It's not a difficult to learn game, and there is massive scope for different factions, different army types, and using models from pretty much any historicals line. Okay, people have converted Japanese samurai and ashigaru miniatures into Turnip28 miniatures. As you can see here, the majority of my stuff comes from HeroClix. That's something that I've got a lot of, but also I don't use a lot of. But this allows me to find all these wonderful combinations like this DC Scarecrow rookie miniature and this World War II Japanese bolt action rifle from the bolt action game that just happen to beautifully go together. There's no way you could plan this, there's no way you could see this combination working so well. But it does. Although that rifle, the recoil will probably blow his knees straight off if it with the way he's holding it on there. But by rebasing them, by polishing them up a bit, you can create a force out of miniatures that do otherwise languish unloved in the bits box. And I think that's the magic of these miniature agnostic games. It finally gives you an excuse. It finally gives you a reason to actually do something with these things. We can always find 101 reasons to buy more miniatures, but we are terrible as hobbyists for actually getting the stuff out of the boxes and doing something with them, right? Or taking projects that have finished or taking projects that failed and turning them into something new. And that's part of what this is. It's a new year, it's a new force. It is a turnip-based force. So you've started to assemble a force of freaks and weirdos, and part of that is snapping all the arms and legs off or cutting them off. But what do you replace them with? Well, something I want to point out is there are so many cheap and easily available sprues for historical war games where the people are holding muskets, they're holding rifles, bolt-action rifles in their hands that you can use in this game. There was a magazine that was released only, a couple of weeks ago, a month ago maybe, that had a sprue of French or British line infantry on it. It's that kind of thing that on impulse we can easily pick up. So shout out to Wargames Emporium on eBay, because without them I wouldn't have been able to assemble a lot of what you see here. But then before you know it, you've made something like this. So what is this force? What are we looking at? So this is a force that I've put together for Turnip28. As you can tell, I've got my 3 leaders, my Toff and his 2 underlings, whose names I forget at this point. I've got a unit of brutes, I've got a unit of chaff cavalry, and I've got a unit of fodder. Now, the heroes, the Toff and the leaders, I've given them, they've got to stand out on the table somewhat, so I made them look like trench priests. So I used miniature chess pieces that you get from travel sets of chess, like pocket chess sets, to make these sort of all-enclosed metal helmets for the priests to wear. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Worked far better than I could ever have hoped for. But then you've got here some of these Prussian line infantry plastics that, again, got them off eBay for like £1. And just by adding some little conversion bits of plastic, bits of wire, weapons from other systems to create crazy bayonets, you create that iconic Turnip28 look. And painting them, honestly, it's one of the easiest and most relaxing things ever, because there are no rules. It comes down to what you want to achieve with that model. If you're not feel comfortable painting a certain colour, great, you don't have to paint it. Why would you? You know, these are models that you want to paint. These are forces that you want to assemble. And there is no right or wrong. You know, the skin colour can be whatever you are comfortable painting. I mean, I've painted this one priest holding this little frog, and that little frog and the little bundle of carrots, one of the funnest things I've painted in months. And there's just something about the joy that just goes into being so completely creatively free when assembling and painting miniatures that just can't be overstated. And that's part of what this video is leading to. But here you can see with the main Toff that I've done for the faction, I've just completely blown out all the proportions, where if you've got this sort of vaguely British redcoats inspired theme with the kind of ridiculous hats with a cannonball blown through it and all this, on his face I've blown the mask out, I've curled that plague doctor nose, I've curled that around into like a little sort of snail shell of a shape. I've blown out one of the metal eyes and the other one's all dotted and disgusting. But he's also holding the white rabbit from that Alex von Blood miniature from HorrorClix. So again, it's combining old with new. Going into the new year, I'm going to be making a new force. I'm going to be making a whole second force so that I can play test this, or I can like do demo games with my friends. And if you come back for the next episode, I'll show you step by step how I do that. Thank you all for watching, soldiers, and I'll see you in the trenches. And goodbye.